sports world as a very successful college football coach. And although the golf was great at Augusta, what was really great was the evening sessions after dinner back in the cabin. And one night I got on a conversation with Lou Holtz because he coached 6 university teams, of which all 6 of them, when he took over as coach, had a losing record the year before. All 6. And within 2 years of him being the coach, all 6 of those that had a losing record, he not only turned it around, but within 2 years of him coaching these teams, they were in some kind of a college bowl game. And I call that a U-turn leader. A U-turn leader is they take something that's going down, and then they flatten it out. They kill that negative momentum and they get it going, and then they bring it back at the top and they get positive momentum. That's a U-turn kind of leader. And to do that kind of a thing, you have to create positive change. Remember this, you can't turn anything around without changing it. Nobody ever said, I'll tell you why I was so successful. I took something that was not doing well and did nothing. I just did nothing. I just said, time will heal us. And 27 years later, we kind of turned around. No. Let me tell you something. Everything that's bad in your life will never be fixed until you change something about it. Everything bad in your organization will never be fixed until there is a change. Change is the indispensable link to turning things around, to testing and proving that you're a good leader. If you and I take over something that's doing well and has momentum, to be honest with you, we don't have to be a leader very well. We just almost have to just kind of carry the baton in front of the group and just kind of run ahead and stay ahead of the group. But when it's going wrong, when it's going down, it takes that's the test of a leader. What do you take that's not working, stop that negative momentum, and then turn it around and give it. If you turn it around, it's always because you produced positive change within the organization. So let me give you 3 or 4 quickly change comments. Number 1, people feel awkward and self-conscious when they have to make changes, when they're doing something new. It's just there's an awkwardness about that. We all feel awkward. And so whenever you're trying to create positive change, you're making people do something they don't want to do. I literally talked to a guy one time, and I was talking about changes in the organization. And he said, well, I know we've gone through some changes in the organization, but I just can't recall them right now. And I said to myself, you haven't gone through real changes in an organization because there's nothing but pain in those. You remember them well. Oh my gosh, do you remember when we had to go? Are you with me? Yes. So it's always awkward. Do me a favor, drop your pen for a moment and just clasp your hands like this, would you please? That's just like this. Okay, you got it? Everybody got their hand clasped? That's really good. Now, let me tell you something about what you just did. You've done this thousands of times. Let me tell you what you've never done. Move your fingers over one and clasp them. Feel how awkward that is? You know why it's awkward? You've never clasped your hands like that until right now. You're comfortable doing things the same way. Fold your arms for me. Just fold your arms. That's beautiful. You've done it thousands of times. Now change the way you fold your arms. Feel how awkward that is? You know why it's awkward? You've never done it that way before. Now, they're both folded arms. They're both clasped hands. They're both the same thing. But you've never done one, and so therefore it's uncomfortable to you. Here's what I know. Most people are more comfortable with old problems than they are with new solutions. That's what I know. So therefore, people want to stay in the old problems. If you're going to be a U-turn leader and create positive change, you're going to have to get them to cross their arms differently. You're going to have to get them to clasp their hands differently. The second thought on change is that people initially focus on what they're going to lose or give up when they have to do change. When you ask people to change, the first thing they think about is not what they're going to receive, new and fresh and different and beautiful. They think about what they're going to have to give up. That's why they dig in. The first question a person asks when there's change is, how's this going to affect me? What's this mean to me? What am I going to have to do? What am I going to have to do in that process? Because I know these two things about change, I can still remember when I was 27 and I had to lead my first congregation through a multi-million-dollar building program. And I was way over my head. And I can still remember spending days trying to figure out, how do I take a congregation that people vote on change, including multi-million-dollar building programs, and as a 27-year-old kid, convince them to build this big building and millions of dollars. How do I do that? And I did that. This worked when I was 27. I did this. So I developed a strategy I'm going to give you right now called Plan Ahead. And this is how to navigate successful change. And can I tell you something? I wrote this down at 27. I followed it. I follow today. It really works. The letter P. Predetermine the change that's needed. The first thing you want to do is you want to sit down and you want to predetermine what is the change that's needed in my life. Because if you're going to turn something around, change has to happen. Now, you don't want action without understanding what you're wanting. So your whole goal isn't to go in and change something. Your goal is to change something that matters, that works. So only you as a leader can predetermine what that change needs to look like. And the way you do it is basically say, this is what is. I mean, hey, Lou Holt said, I have a losing team. I want to have a winning team. What's it mean to take a losing team and make them a winning team? I asked him that process. And Lou told me, he said, John, I asked the players that were on the team that were coming back, why do you think you lost so many games last year? He said, what I did is I did two things. I listened to everybody that was in that losing environment. I asked a lot of questions until I figured out what the issues were. And then he said that great statement, how does a leader that doesn't ask questions ever figure out what to do? I love that. If you're not asking questions of your people, you don't have a clue where they are. You don't have a clue what they think. And he said, I just asked questions. Arthur Blank, when he bought the Atlanta Falcons, told me the very same thing. He said, John, I just went out on the street and I just asked the fans, tell me, why don't you go to the Falcons games? They said, because they stink. They're not any good. Prices are too high. Food costs too much. He said, I just got all those lists. And he said, here's what these leaders know. The answers to the questions you ask will be the strategy that you implement to make the change. The strategy is within the people, but nobody's extracted it out of them. So you got to predetermine the change that is needed. And I think you do that by finding out where the people are, asking the question. After a while, you got it. The picture begins to be clear. The letter A, lay out your steps. Now, I've got to lay out my steps to bring people through successful change. If I walk close to the people through this change, I'll be their leader. If I walk far ahead of the people in this change, I'll become a martyr. You don't want to be a martyr. The good news is if you die a martyr's death, you're always special in the hearts of people. Bad news is you're dead. That's just not a good thing. You with me? So you got to do what I call the leadership dance. This is the leadership dance. You can call me the Arthur Murray of leadership. Okay? Here's the leadership dance. This is the way this works. You got to walk ahead of them so they can see where they got to go. But you got to be close to them. Don't be walking far ahead of them. You with me?
Yes.
Close enough so they can see. You got to walk beside them so they can participate with you in the journey, so that you can listen and you can interact and you can take this journey together. They're in the seat beside you. And you got to walk behind them so that you watch the people that you empower. And the leadership dance is doing all three of those things at the same time. You walk ahead as an example. You walk beside as a friend. You walk behind as a leader that empowers. And once you can do those three things and mix it up with the people, you're laying out your steps very well. The letter A is adjust your priorities. Very simple. Whenever you're going through change, there's no such thing as a pre-game plan that you actualize out completely. Let me tell you the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager is a person who took plan A and won't get off of it because he doesn't want it to change on him. He's got the plan out. He's got the strategy out. Don't mess with it. This is the strategy. Here, stay right here. Let me tell you, a leader starts plan A because he knows you have to have a plan. But he, at any moment, is ready to change to plan B because he's found out a better way. If you think you get the answers on the front end, you've not led very much. Your answers come in the leadership itself, not in the front end. That's why plan A never ends up plan A. It's plan B or plan C. Why? Because you adjust and you hear and you listen and you, hey, by the way, you seize that opportunity. Remember, the great coaches are great because they make halftime adjustments. That pre-game plan at halftime has to be revisited. And you have to say, okay, what works? What doesn't work? And the changes you make have to be critical changes, not cosmetic changes. Remember this, cosmetic changes are easy to accept and implement. So people like cosmetic changes. They change the color. They change the number a little bit. And they just love that kind of stuff. It always kind of bugs me a little bit because I sit there and say, and, where are you going with it? Where are you going? Outside they like gray better than black. Okay. What else are we going to do? Okay. And so you want to make critical changes. You don't want to make cosmetic changes. And understand this. As you make these changes, there's always an answer. Don't ever get into that scarcity mindset as a leader that if I go this path, there's no answer down to this path. There's always an answer. And there's usually more than one answer. That's why leadership is such a great art. Leadership is such a great art because you begin to understand that as you lead them, as you journey, you give them the best leadership. And that's why trust is essential in the people with you. That's why trust is essential, so that you can make these changes as you go to get them there. Okay. And the next one is notify your key personnel. Sit down when you're going through changes, and there are two kinds of key people you need to notify. You need to notify your influencers. These are the people that they better say yes because you're not going to get it done without their yes. Their approval is essential. Are you with me? So you got to notify up front the influencers, and you got to notify up front the implementers. They're the ones that are going to make the dream come true. So you got to get the permission of the influencers for the plan to fly, but then you got to get your implementers because they're going to work the plan. So you notify key personnel. Then you allow time for acceptance. Now you sit down with your key people and you allow them to have time to accept where you're going. Now, this is where leadership art is at its highest form, because your only intuition and timing are a result of a leadership gift, or they're a result of giftedness. Whatever you're gifted in, you understand timing and intuition. If you're not gifted in it, you don't have timing or intuition going for you at all. So you're intuitive in your giftedness. Your ability to do timing is in your giftedness. So this allowing time for acceptance, this is where you begin to allow people to have the time that they need to move forward with you. And to do that, you have to, first of all, slow down. And when I say slow down, this is something I've always had a problem with. I'm dealing with one of my weaknesses now. I don't slow down well. When I see it, I'm gone. And then I realize, I got to take people with me. So I come back to get you. But when I come back to get you, it's like, are you ready? And if I come back to get you and you're not ready, I got you. And I'll sometimes go again. And I have to really work hard on this slowing down process, okay? Because naturally I want to speed up. I don't like anything slow. There's not. I just I like to drive fast. Yeah, it's just. I have a need for speed. Okay. I have a need for speed. Okay. And as a leader, what happens is you get too far out in front of your people. Does that mean? And so you got to slow down. Second thing to do in this allowing time is you got to make sure you're clear in your communication. Because when they don't understand, people cannot follow what they do not understand. And so all communicators understand the value of clarity on the front end. So I travel a lot, and I brought this with me because I just love it. When you travel, you just find some funny things that are written. And these are signs in English from various parts of the world. For example, a dry cleaners in Bangkok. I love this. Drop your trousers here for the very best results. So a bunch of people in front of that dry cleaners mooning the rest of the people. Hotel brochure in Italy. This hotel is renowned for its peace and solitude. In fact, crowds from all over the world flock here to enjoy its solitude. This is from a Tokyo hotel. It is forbidden to steal hotel towels. Please, if you're not a person to do such a thing, then please do not read this. In Bucharest hotel lobby, the lift is being fixed for the next day. During that time, we regret that you will be unbearable. Hotel in Athens. Visitors are expected to complain at the office between the hours of 9 and 11 o'clock daily. Is it complaining time yet? Is it? In a Rome laundry, ladies, leave your clothes here and spend the afternoon having a good time. Outside a Hong Kong tailor shop, ladies may have a fit upstairs. In a Rhodes tailor shop, order your summer suits. Because it's a big rush, we will execute customers in strict rotation. Bang! Next. In Copenhagen, an airline ticket office, we take your bags and send them in all directions. It's our gift. We'll just send them anywhere they are possibly. Make your communication clear. Head into action. The H is head into action. Get going. Just start going. You never know the level of commitment from your people until you ask for action. You just never know how committed they are. The letter E, expect problems. Expect them. Why? Because motion causes friction. You start moving. And it's a tremendous leadership mistake to think that you have such a plan that is problem-free. Okay? And that everybody will buy in. So what leaders need to do, this is so beautiful. It's so negative, but it's so good. When I say expect problems this whole process, here's what you got to do as a leader. You got to think the worst first. You got to think the worst before anyone else. You got to speak the worst first. And you got to answer the worst first. You got to do all three of those things. In other words, you got to think what problems are going to be there. And then when you figure out what problems are going to be there, you say, now as we do this, there are a whole bunch of problems we're going to encounter. When you speak it up to the people, they'll say, oh my gosh, he's already figured out that we got, and let me tell you, when those problems occur, let me tell you what we're going to do. When you can do that well, understand you're really helping them with positive change. And the next one is always point to your successes. Somebody said, why? I said, because you always have people point to your failures. I mean, some people, that's their spiritual gift. You understand. If they can't find criticism, they're just not very comfortable. And then daily review your progress. Daily review your progress. Why? Because things get off on a daily basis. Things get off course on a daily basis. Problems occur on a daily basis. And I close this section of creating positive change, which is the acid test of leader. I close this because in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, I have what I call the law of buy-in. And the law of buy-in, I think, answers this whole process of creating positive change within an organization. The law of buy-in just simply says people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. And so what I want you to understand is when people say, can I create positive change within the organization? Can I do a U-turn? Can I turn this around? The question is very simple. How much of the people bought into you? If they bought into you, you can turn it around. Just think as I close of the story I gave you of Lou Holtz that turned 6 university programs around. Losing programs within 2 years had him in college bowls. Think of what happened about the 5th college he went to with a reputation of a turnaround U-turn leader. Can you imagine just the excitement and the momentum of Lou Holtz coming to our college? You know, we just stink, and he's going to come here and he's going to turn us into winners. Okay, now let me tell you something. It's a phenomenal thing when you have your reputation that you're a problem solver, and it's a phenomenal thing when you have a reputation that you turn things going the wrong way around and you make them positive. Once you get that, this is a leadership edge that you have. It's a leadership edge. It gives you a sense of momentum. It gives you a sense of moral authority that allows you to come back into a situation now, here's what I learned a long time ago. When people believe the best in you as a leader, they give their best to you as a leader. So you want to become good at this session, because this is the area that once you can do it and you can do it well, you kind of get a reputation as a turnaround artist, a U-turn leader that creates positive change, and then all kind of very good and exciting things happen. So I wish that for you. I wish that for me. I wish that for all of us.
Now, for a lot of leaders, including me, hearing from John is like drinking from a fire hose. There's just so much practical teaching. The biggest challenge is, how do you take this information and translate it into transformation in your life and your business? That very question is what led us at the John Maxwell Company to create LeaderCore. So what is LeaderCore? Well, simply, it's a leadership operating system for your business. It's a step-by-step plan to implement Dr. John C. Maxwell's core leadership processes into your business so you can 10x your leadership capacity. LeaderCore is made up of 4 elements. Number 1, it's a monthly step-by-step leadership plan delivered right to your inbox. 2, weekly live Q&As with our team and Dr. Maxwell. 3, access to the core community. And number 4, on-demand training for you and your team. Now, before you sign up for LeaderCore, let me show you exactly what you're going to get when you get started today. The entire process centers around the monthly core leadership plan. And what that is a step-by-step leadership plan delivered monthly right to your inbox. In fact, if you decide to partner with us on LeaderCore, you're going to get immediate access to Dr. Maxwell's 30-day growth plan. Now, here's what we know about you. If you stuck around this long, chances are you're looking for some change. Well, change requires a leader, and that's why we're starting with you, because we know that growth is a core leadership process. In fact, one of our core values as an organization is growth, because we know that personal growth increases capacity. If you want to go to the next level, you've got to grow to the next level. The 30-day growth plan is how you begin that journey. In the very first month of LeaderCore, we're going to help you build the process for your own personal growth. We're going to do that by walking you through John Maxwell's 6-step personal growth plan. John's going to help you define 2 to 5 areas you need to grow in to reach the next level of leadership. Now, let me get off script for just a second here and tell you this. In the first 30 days of this plan, as we began to develop it, we walked through the process as well. 2 of the areas that I chose to grow in were, number 1, a choice, attitude, and number 2, a skill, delegation. Let me tell you, it has been a game changer for me, and I know it'll be a game changer for you as well. Once you have those growth areas defined, we're going to help you design a plan to implement those growth areas so you can start seeing changes happen immediately. And that's all going to happen in just the very first month. We feel like this is the easy button for implementing an effective leadership plan in your company. Now, you and I both know if you've ever led anything that there's nothing really easy about leadership, but it can be simple. And that's what we're after, a simple solution for installing core leadership processes into your business so you can 10x your leadership capacity. And I'm sure you know that when you lift the lid on leadership, everything else in business follows. Employee retention, productivity, revenue, and scalability. Every month, you're going to get a new leadership plan to help you grow as a leader and invest in your team. And by the way, some of the plans will be all about your team and not just about you. You're also going to get a monthly live Q&A with Dr. John Maxwell himself. John Maxwell is the leading authority on leadership. He's written more than 100 books and sold more than 30 million copies. And best of all, you're going to find out what John's secret sauce really is. Do you think you know what it is? Let me tell you. It's taking time to think. During his live calls, you'll get access to John's latest thinking, and that will inspire your best thinking for growing your team. And then you'll get the opportunity to ask your questions as well. You're also going to get weekly calls with a corporate leadership trainer. Now, these are experts in corporate leadership development. These are men and women who coach everyone from solopreneurs all the way up to Fortune 500 companies, and they've been hand-selected for their knowledge of John's core leadership processes. And I promise you, you don't have an issue they haven't helped a leader walk through. They'll be on a live call with you every week, coaching you through the core leadership plan for the month and answering any questions you have related to the plan or your business. You're going to get access to our private leader core group. As a leader, it's so important that you have relationships with other leaders that are outside of your ecosystem. This is our iron sharpens iron environment. It's an online Facebook community designed to develop offline leadership relationships. One of the funniest things I hear John talk about is what he's going to name his final leadership book. He's going to name it Leadership Sucks. And if you've ever led anything, you know exactly what he's talking about. Well, we believe that community makes leadership suck a whole lot less. And as a side note, helping you get in community with other leaders is one of my favorite things that we're doing with this Leader Core community. You'll get to connect with other core members and share what you're learning as you move through the monthly leadership plan. This is a place for leaders to connect that is built and run by leaders. You're also going to get a couple of our best-selling online trainings, the first one being Developing the Leader Within You. Inside this training, John will help you define leadership. We rise and fall on our definitions, and John will give you a clear path to understanding your leadership style, all while helping you define what leadership really means to you. He's also going to dive deeper into the 5 levels of leadership, because the 5 levels of leadership is core to what we're trying to do with Leader Core. We're going to teach you to understand and use the language of the 5 levels of leadership so that you can get permission to lead, get phenomenal productivity results, and then begin to reproduce leaders, which John talks about is how you compound your effort in your organization. If you get involved in Leader Core today, you're also going to get another one of our core trainings, Every Day with Purpose. Inside Every Day with Purpose, John is going to coach you on 3 questions to discover your purpose. Let me tell you this. It's impossible to lead well if you don't understand your purpose. Then he's going to show you what it looks like to live every day as an on-purpose person, and you'll understand the benefit of having clarity of focus and the impact that will have on your leadership. And then finally, John will explain how your gifts and passions, your discipline and determination play into the journey ahead, and how you can begin that journey by taking the next step to living on purpose. So if you get started today, you're going to get the monthly core leadership plan, monthly live Q&As with John Maxwell, a weekly call with our corporate leadership trainers, access to our private Leader Core group, and 2 of our best-selling trainings, Developing the Leader Within You and Every Day with Purpose. And we're also going to throw in a 30% discount on johnmaxwell.com store items for you and your team. That's a total value of $2,785. And you can get all of it for just $397 a month. But wait, it gets even better than that. If you get started today, you can save 50% forever and get the entire Leader Core process for just $199 a month. That's today only. And because we know that you're going to love this if you try it, we're going to give you another $100 off your first month, so you can sign up today and get all the bonuses mentioned above and the Leader Core process for just $99. And then after that, just $199 a month. So go ahead and click the link below or visit MaxwellLeaderCore.com and get signed up now. Here's the last thing you need to know. Our Leader Core 30-day money-back guarantee. If during the first 30 days you decide Leader Core is not for you, we'll refund your entire investment, no questions asked, and you can keep access to the bonuses mentioned above. There's no contracts, and you can cancel at any time. If you're still not convinced, I'm going to let John Maxwell talk to you for just a minute about Leader Core, and then I'll come back on and I want to answer a few questions, okay? Thanks so much. I'll be right back. Here's John Maxwell.
Richard shared with you a little bit earlier about Leader Core, which is what I'm more excited about than anything else I'm doing right now. Because I've had a great passion to be able to have a process. That word core it's for people and it's for process. I want to go to the people that are at the core of what I teach and believe, and I want to give you a process that is workable. Because let me say this: if you would become a part of Leader Core for the next 12 months, I'll never have to convince you to be part of Leader Core again. The process of what you do and what you learn will change your life. If I look at the books I write, it all became a reality when I became a person of personal growth. Everything basically I've done has been based off of that well that I can draw from of personal growth. And so I want to say to you today, take a journey with me for these next several months. And I'm going to promise you, I'll be on the phone, we'll do some Q&A with you, but with the process that we've outlined for you and all the accountability and our people that come alongside you and the resources we're going to give you, Richard is a proven leader in this world. And we literally hired him because he has done these process programs before to just really help people. And I said, Richard, would you come and help the John Maxwell Company? Would you do something for us that I could have a staying close to you, helping you develop, helping you grow process for these next several months? So I want to really encourage you. If you join, wonderful. You're going to be right in on that front end. Look, we'll literally have over the next few months, we'll have probably, 1,500, 2,000 people become part of this. But I want you to become part. I want you to be one of the first. Join us with us and get into Leader Core. I think it'll be great.
We hope you're getting a ton out of this training. I wanted to emphasize one thing that John talked about. It's the law of the buy-in. People buy into the leader and then the vision. When you start any journey, you really have to know two things: where you are and where you're trying to go. So for the next few minutes, John's going to share with you the 5 levels of leadership. Now for leaders, this is our roadmap. The 5 levels will show you exactly where you are with your team and give you the tools and language to plot your leadership journey. Now, here's John on the 5 levels of leadership.
What you did yesterday, value it, because hopefully it was your best work. But if what you did yesterday is still the highlight of your work, you're not growing, and you're not developing, and you're not becoming the person that you have the potential to become. Does that make sense? In section number 1, I talk about the definition of leadership, which is influence. That's what leadership is. It's nothing more, nothing less than influence. And the goal of developing the leader within you when I wrote it was to help people develop and grow their influence, because the more people you can influence, the more successful you will be. But I had a challenge. 25 years ago, people didn't come to leadership conferences and they didn't come to leadership seminars. Trust me. They didn't come to mine. Because I said, I'm going to teach you how to lead. I'm going to teach you leadership stuff. And people come up, they'd say, why would I go to that seminar? I'm already a leader. You see, 25 years ago, people thought that leadership was title and position. And they'd say, I already have a leadership position. Why would I go to a leadership seminar? And I thought, how am I going to bring people in to learn leadership when they don't think there's a need to learn leadership. I've got to package this differently. And that's when I began to teach the fact that leadership is influence. So the 5 levels of leadership, which I'm known for, written a book for, in a moment I'm going to give you just a little bit of teaching on it, didn't start off as the 5 levels of leadership. It started off as the 5 levels of influence. I said, I'm going to teach you how to grow your influence. And people said, oh, I'll come. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, Influence People. If you're going to teach me how to increase my influence, I'll come. I thought I was going to a leadership seminar. My God, don't need a leadership seminar, but I need one of those increasing your influence seminars. And so I started teaching the 5 levels of influence and taught it that way for probably 10 years until people began to equate influence and leadership as the same. So on the screen, I'm going to put here what the 5 levels of leadership are. And this is just the essence of it, and I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to go literally position by position and kind of help you just understand it and spend maybe 15 minutes just breaking it down for you, because it's essential for you and I to understand how this works. And so what I'll do is I'll literally start over here on the lowest level, which is the position level, which the key word is rights, and people follow you because they have to. This is where we start, okay? We all start by having a leadership position. And let me just say this. It's a great place to start. It's a terrible place to stay. So if you look at this and say, this is the beginning of my leadership journey, this is the beginning of me increasing my influence, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But if you look at this and say, I have a leadership title, I have a leadership position, so now I'm a leader, you're in trouble. Because you see, the position doesn't make the leader. The leader makes the position. And so what we have to understand is that when we get on level 1, it's a beautiful thing. In fact, the upside of level 1 is, if it's understood correctly, it'll be the greatest learning period of your leadership life. Because you get a chance to come to the leadership table. I get to sit with other leaders and discuss leadership issues, and I get to get into a leadership discussion. So it's a great place for me to learn, to experiment, to practice my leadership. When I started on level 1, I practiced my leadership, and I found out very quickly what I did well and what I didn't do well, what I was good at, what I was bad at. So it's a time of experience. It's a time of experiments. It's a good time to start. And if you treat level 1 as this is my entry level, not my final level, it'll be a wonderful growing experience in your life. Now, that's the upside. The upside is you get a seat at the leadership table. That's the good news. Now, the downside is that if you lead out of title and position, all you get from people is minimum effort. Because the only reason they follow you is because they have to. They're not following you because you're a good leader. They're following you because you're the boss. They don't have any choice. Basically, in the real world, they follow you or they get fired. Well, that's an IQ test. All right, I'll follow them. But they don't follow you because you're good. They follow you because you have a title and authority, and they don't have any choice. And so what happens is when people have to follow you for that reason, every day they ask one question when they come to work. And you know what that question is? How little do I have to do to keep from being fired? Wow. Because whatever that minimal level is, I'm just going to reach that level and no more. So when you get minimal effort from people, you get minimal results. No one ever said, I became successful by getting minimal effort out of my people. Oh my gosh, my marriage is fabulous. We don't give it any effort at all. It's just wonderful. No energy at all. No. There's a relationship between increased energy and increased success. Are you with me? Yes. At level 1, you don't get increased energy. You get minimal energy. That's what I want you to understand. So at level 1, if in the office quitting time is at 5 o'clock, if you're a level 1 leader, at 4:30, the people in your office are clearing their desk. You understand? because they're 30 minutes away from the highlight of their day. Quitting time. They think they're Cape Canaveral. They're in a countdown mode. 30, 29, 28, 27. They're clearing their desk. Why are they clearing their desk? Because at 5 o'clock, they want nothing to disrupt or interrupt their exit. They're preparing for their exit. If they would prepare for their work like they prepared for their exit, they would be awesome. So at 4:30, they're cleaning the desk, and at 4:45, they're going around the office. And they're saying goodbye to everybody. Hey, see you tomorrow. Talk to you tonight. Yeah, well, yeah. And shoot, 4:50, they're going over to the restroom. Yeah, they're going to pee on company time. Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to do that on personal time. Good Lord, let the company pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Come on. 4:55, they're back at their desk. They're not working. They're putting their track shoes on. Because at 4:58, they're waiting for the gun to go off. As soon as the gun goes off, they're off. In fact, they clear the room so fast. You say, how do they do that? It's 5:01, they're all gone. How can they do it so quickly and so efficiently? Practice. Practice. They have been practicing. They have been working on this, baby. You go to the window, you're so amazed, you just look out at the parking lot, and much to your shock, when you look out the parking lot at 5:03, it's almost empty. The last two cars are peeling out. You go, how'd they get out of the parking lot so fast? Well, when they come in the morning, if it's a level 1 company, they back their cars in. They don't want any of this back and forth stuff. No. Well, you can tell, level 1, you just don't want to be there. You with me? Because you get minimal effort. That's not where you want to go. You okay, lady? Can I go on? So here we go. So we go to level number 2, which is the permission level, which is built on relationships. And you know it's built on relationships because on level number 2, people follow you because they want to. There's a world of difference between 1 and 2. At level 1, they follow you because they have to. At level 2, they follow you because they want to. So what happens when have to is replaced with want to? Energy. Energy increases. And the beautiful thing that happens at level number 2 is you get major increased energy out of your people, which now the returns are going to be much greater. So that's the positive side. I call it the permission level because what really happens is people give you permission to lead them. You know you're a good leader when the people who follow want you to lead them. By the way, every day people vote on you as a leader. Every day they're making a fresh decision. Do I really want to follow this person? And that's why I call it the permission level. I say, yeah, I give you permission to lead me. That's the upside, increased energy. The downside is that at this level, you've become a good friend. They like you. That doesn't mean you're a good leader at all. You're just a good friend. Now, relationships is foundation for influence and leadership. So it's very important. But just as it's important for you to know that this is the foundation for your leadership, it's also important for you to know that relationships are not leadership. And just because a person likes you doesn't mean you're a good leader. And a lot of people never get over hurdle number 2. They get to level number 2 and they say, I like them, they like me. We're just kind of a happy family, kumbaya, you know what I mean? Start the fire. And they never go anywhere with their business. They never go anywhere with their business because you don't build a business based solely on friendship. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be bigger than that. It has to be better than that. Now, at level number 2, 3 things leaders do exceptionally well. And I want to give those to you right now. At level number 2, leaders listen very well. They're good listeners. They get their leadership cues from their people. They walk slowly through the crowd. They listen, learn, lead. Listen, learn, lead. Listen, learn, lead. Never stops. It's the cycle. Listen, learn, lead. So they listen very well. Number 2, they observe very well. A level 2 leader realizes that what a person says is not as important as what a person does. So their thought is, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. And so they observe very well because they realize behavior tells you the potential of a person. There's never been a person that's had great potential that had bad behavior. So they watch, they observe. They listen, they observe. And number 3, they serve very well. They really do understand servant leadership. And this incredible teaching on developing the leader within you, I'm going to do a whole chapter and section on servant leadership for you. So that's enough for just now. They observe, they listen, and they serve very well. That's level number 2. But at level number 3, we now go to the production level. Keyword is results. And at level number 3, people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. This is the level where you're known as a producer, okay? I love it. You're known as a producer at this level. And basically, this is where you get your credibility as a leader. People want to follow somebody that's successful, that's produced. Think about it. Do you think anybody ever gets up in the morning and says, wow, I want to be successful. I have got to follow somebody who's never been successful. Come on, talk to me, folks. This is an IQ test, all right? You don't get up in the morning and say, wow, if I could, well, I just don't know how to make money, but I've got a friend that's been bankrupt 3 times. Wow, let me go sit at his feet for a while, huh? No. LeBron James is a great basketball player. In fact, he's known as today the best basketball player in the world. And if LeBron James was up on the stage with me and he and I were looking at you and we're going to play basketball today, and we were choosing teams. Are you with me? LeBron chooses, John chooses, LeBron chooses, John chooses. When LeBron chooses, guess what you're all doing? You're all up there, hey, me, you're just going crazy. Because you want LeBron to pick you to be on the team. And when it's my turn, you're diving, you're on the floor. You know what I'm saying? You're hiding. You're getting behind somebody. Don't pick me, John. Don't pick me. You know why you don't want John to pick you? If John picks you, you are going to lose. And if LeBron picks you, you are going to win. Hello? So if I ask you, I know you really like me. Whose team do you want to be on? You'd all say, John, we like you. We want to be on LeBron's team. You see, when it comes to leadership, people will choose success over relationships because they desperately want somebody to take them to a level that they've never been on before. Does that make sense to you? And that's what we're talking about here. Level 3 is the production level. This is where you produce and you get this credibility and authenticity as a leader because people want to follow you because you're successful. I love this story. I'm just going to get down here and read it with you, okay, if you don't mind. I just love this story, okay? Now, hang on with me. And I want you to read it because you've got to kind of read it to catch it. Because it's one of my favorite stories. It's about a newly hired traveling salesman named Gooch. And the reaction he got from his company's leaders when he sent his first sales report into the home office, it stunned the head of the sales department. Gooch wrote, I seen this outfit which they ain't never bought a dime's worth of nothing from us, and I sold them some goods and I'm now going to Chicago. Before the man could be given the heave-ho by the sales manager, along came this message from Chicago. I come here and I sold them $500,000. Fearful if he did, and afraid if he didn't fire the ignorant salesman, the sales manager dumped the problem in the lap of the president. And the following morning, the ivory-towered sales department members were amazed to see posted on the bulletin board above the 2 letters written by the ignorant salesman and this memo from the president. We've been spending too much time trying to spell instead of trying to sell. Let's watch those sales. I want everyone should read these letters from Gooch, who is on the road doing a great job for us, and you should go out and do like he done. Don't you just love that, huh? Go be like Gooch. Now, what makes Gooch work? He sold. He was successful. He produced. And that's level 3 just basically says you got to be there. You got to be there. You got to constantly being able to return and produce for your company. That's level 3. Now, let me tell you. So the upside on level 3 is the fact that you produce and people want to be on your team. The downside is that being productive only, if you're just producer yourself, that doesn't mean you're a leader. It just means you're good yourself. Now, that beats somebody that's not good. So let's get our priorities right. If I'm going to have somebody on my team, one's not good and one's good, I take the good one. Okay? But just because they produce themselves doesn't mean they can get others to produce. Are you with me? Yeah. So what do leaders do at level number 3? What did they excel in? Number 1, they lead by example. People watch them be successful. They have a model to follow. Number 2, they create momentum. What creates momentum? Production. Whenever production is happening, when sales are good, everybody's happy, aren't they? Yeah. So there's momentum, and they attract better people. What do I mean by they attract better people? It's very simple. The better you are, the better people you attract. That's one of the reasons why I have such a passion for you to develop the leader within you. Because if you develop the leader within you and you get better, guess what? You got better people on your team. That's why you want to be on LeBron's team. Are you with me? Not John's team. LeBron attracts better people than I do. Are you with me? Okay. It's a beautiful thing. Level number 3. Okay. But let's go to level number 4 for a moment. This is the people development stage. Reproduction is the key, and people follow you because of what you've done for them. Wow. Now they're following you because you've added value and you've helped change their life. The upside at level 4 is that everything compounds at this level. Everything. Time, money, energy, influence, ideas, results. Everything compounds when you develop other people to do what you're doing. And the downside, to be honest with you, is developing people is hard work. Let me tell you why. There are very few leaders because leadership is difficult. There are very few reproducers because it's not easy to reproduce other producers. If it were easy, everybody would do it. It's like I went back to my 10th anniversary at High Christian University. That's the first place I got my first degree. And it was 10 years, and I ran into Herman. Herman graduated with me. I hadn't seen Herman for 10 years. I said, Herman, how you doing, buddy? So I'm doing good. I said, where are you pastoring? Because we were all theologues. And he said, well, I'm not pastoring anymore. I said, you're not? So what the heck are you doing? He said, well, I'm an undertaker, funeral director. I said, okay. Tell me how you made that switch. Oh, he said, that was simple. I'm telling you, when I was a pastor, I'd bring them in for counseling, and I'd try to straighten them out, and they'd go back out and do some more stupid stuff. He said, what I love about my job now, when I straighten them out, they stay straight. They stay straight. I love that story. I said, I'm going to be a funeral director, Herman. I'm going to be, well, you see, here's what I learned a long time ago. It's easy to work with dead people. But the live ones are always moving on you. Do you know what I'm saying? You say, where did they go? I just had them right there. Where did they go? Isn't that fun? You see, at level 4, leaders do 3 things really well. They recruit well because they understand the better people they recruit, the better return they're going to get. They position well They get the right people, as Jim Collins would say, on the bus, on the right bus, right seat, and they equip very well. They do those three things really well. Are you with me? Okay. There's one more level, and it's level 5. It's the pinnacle level. The key word is respect. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. Now, at level number 1, the company gives you that. Levels 2, 3, and 4, you earn. You work for those. Level 5 is a result of many years doing it so well that the people put you on that level. And the upside of level 5 is that you get moral authority, which is the greatest leadership authority in the world. Moral authority. I'll talk about that later as we go through the chapters of developing the leader within you. It's only given at level 5. You don't get it until you're there. The downside is that when you get to level 5, if you're not careful, you can start to live off of yesterday. And when you live off of yesterday, guess what? You're relegated to yesterday. You can very quickly live off of what you've done in the past to the place where it no longer gives you the return in that area. It's the 5 levels of leadership, and it's the 5 ways to increase your influence. So very simply, it just works this way. Leadership is influence. And the way that you gain influence is to go through the 5 steps. You get a position, you get the permission and begin to really connect with the people. You become productive, and now all of a sudden you get the credibility to lead. You develop people, which means you compound every area in your life. And if you do that long enough, finally you hit the pinnacle level, and that's level 5. That's how you increase your influence. Why? Because leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less.
As you're getting registered for Leader Corps and the $99 trial, I wanted to spend just a few minutes answering a few questions. So let's dive in. First question is from Rob K. It says this: I read a lot about leadership, including all of John's books. My biggest challenge is taking ideas and turning them into practical leadership strategies. How do you recommend I do that? Well, Rob, join the crowd. I have the same issue. I take in a lot of information from books, audiobooks, podcasts, those kind of things. One of the things I found over the years is that I can get bogged down by taking in too much information. So I would suggest picking a lane, picking somebody that you're going to follow, picking somebody that you're going to model, and try to do exactly what they did, because we all know that if we do what somebody else does, we're going to get results that are very similar to them. In fact, this idea was one of the main reasons that we decided to invent this thing called Leader Corps, because as leaders in John's organization, we found ourselves faced with the same issue that you probably find yourself faced with, which is, this is a lot of great information, but what do I do with it? So we took that information and broke it down into those bite-sized, strategy-oriented tactics for you. The next question comes from Mackenzie, and it says, how hard will it be for me to take your plan and put it into play in my company? Well, it won't be hard, but it won't be easy. And here's what I mean by that. A lot of times when you're evaluating getting into a plan like this, you think that the cost is the financial investment. It really is not. The real cost in this is change in your pocket. And it's going to cost you change up front, and we believe it's going to put a massive amount of change in your pocket with your team, with your peers, and with your leaders in your organization over time, because that's what leadership does, is it adds value to people in order to get where the company's trying to go. So will this be difficult? It won't be easy. It won't be hard. We've tried to break this down into very bite-sized pieces for you. The reason being is we know that you're facing two things: overwhelm and uncertainty. You've got way too much to do, and you're not super sure about how to move forward. How do we know that about you? Because we're in that boat too. And what we're trying to do with this program is to make it where anybody could execute on this in just a few hours a week. Okay, next question. I inherited a team, and I don't yet have the authority to begin building a team of my own, which will require removing some of the people already on the team. How do I lead when I'm not really in charge? That comes to us from Zahid. Okay, this is the tough love part of the program. Here's my response to this question. Zahid, you don't really know what kind of team you have until they're led well, because leadership matters. So I tell you this, Zahid, if you can't change people, start changing yourself and watch how the people change. I know this will happen. I've already seen this in the first 30 days of the Leader Core program, where I began to take a really hard look at myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, and my blind spots, and begin to admit my weaknesses, which, by the way, the people on my team already, they're painfully aware of the things that I'm not good at. I'm just becoming more in line with those. And already what's happening is people are beginning to expand and grow and fill in the leadership gaps on the team. A lot of times we think people don't want to take ownership of what's going on, or they don't care. And the reality is they've just had a leadership lid put on them, so they don't feel like they can move forward. They don't feel like they can make decisions. They don't feel like they can lead. Here's what I would tell you, Zahid, or anybody else listening to this that finds themselves in this situation. Your restrictions here may actually be a blessing. It may force you to do something that you don't want to do, which is to lead people that you don't necessarily buy into or care about, and find a way to buy into them and care about them. Because I can tell you this for a fact, a team that is well led is completely different than a team that is not. All right, let's see what our next question is here. How do I know that Leader Core will work in my organization? That comes to us from Macy Z. We get this question a lot. Here's the real answer. You don't. It will work if you work it. It will not work if you do not work it. At the end of the day, we're giving you a very clear structure for how to operate and install some core leadership processes into your business. But absolutely, this is not click the button and install. You're going to have to wake up every day and figure out what this means to you. The 30-day growth plan that we're going to start you out with, it's going to rock your world if you do it right. You're going to learn some things about yourself. You're going to grow as a leader, but it's going to require effort on your part. But here's what I know about you. This far into a training like this, if you're still here, you're not the kind of person that's looking for the easy button. You are somebody that's investing in yourself and ready to invest in other people. So here's what I would tell you, Macy. This is absolutely going to work in your organization, because you're the kind of person that takes time to work on the business instead of just staying focused on working in the business. How much time per week will I need to spend on the Leader Core plan? I am so glad that Paul asked this question. There really are two kinds of activities that you can spend your time on in your business. Things that add value, like running reports or sitting in meetings, those kind of things. And then there are things that multiply value, like developing a new skill, or delegating critical projects, or even improving your attitude. I call these things compounding time. They're activities you can involve yourself in that keep working when you're done working on them. Now, in light of that, let's talk about the time you'll spend on this. Right now, you're spending that time on something. Let me ask you, when you're done working on what you'll work on today, will that thing keep producing value for your organization? Now, here's a fact. There are some things you can do today that will have a higher return on investment for your business than other things. Leader Core is going to help you continue to find and refine those things. So the answer to Paul's question isn't how much time will this take, but how can I find as much time as possible to spend on growing my leadership capacity? The next question comes from Evan. It says, I own a small marketing firm with 3 employees. I'm having a hard time finding people with the skills and desire to help me grow my business. How does this community help me scale? Now, I love this question because I also own a small marketing firm, so I have felt this pain before, and I know that there are a lot of you that feel this. This is what I would tell you. The problem isn't a skill problem. You can find skilled people. There are skilled people everywhere. Yes, when you're hiring people, you have to make sure that they're skilled. If you have people on your team that need to level up their skills, well, you've got to make an investment in that. I think the bigger issue here is the desire. At the John Maxwell Company, we say we need people that are competent and they care. And those are the two sides of the coin. It is a lot harder to get people to care than it is to find competent people. And I think that that's the thing Evan is struggling with right here. How do I get people that care? Because people that care, their competence, their skill level is automatically going to be on the rise, always, assuming one thing, that you as the leader take the lid off of them. And what that means is giving people ownership and responsibility and managing results and not tasks. And I know for me, that's one of the biggest challenges I have with delegating. I give something, it's not being done the way I want it, I take it back. So I'm managing the little details, when in reality, I need to give people the opportunity to fail. Let me give you one example of a great way that I saw this happen when my beloved University of Georgia Bulldogs played Alabama in the national championship in 2018. Georgia was winning the game handily at the half. Alabama comes out after the half, and Nick Saban puts Tua, I won't even attempt his last name in. Freshman kid, brings in the freshman, replaces the 26-2 Jalen Hurts with a freshman that nobody had ever heard of, couldn't say his name. The kid comes in, goes 3 and out, which means they ran 3 plays, and then that series was over. Came back in the next time, threw an interception, came back in after that, won the game. Now, you're going to hear me talking out of my pain right here because I tried to find a leadership lesson from one of the most painful moments I've had with a sporting team in the last 40 years. Here's the leadership lesson. When you give somebody ownership of something, you got to give it to them and let them live or die with it. And that may mean putting your reputation on the line as well, which is what Nick Saban did when he put that kid in. It was a brilliant leadership move. So here's what that means for us. If we're going to be able to grow our organizations, yes, we've got to go out and we've got to find skilled people. There are a myriad of ways to make sure that people actually have the skills that they claim they have. 90-day trials with bringing them in, giving them a test to do so that you understand. Having a fundamental understanding of what it is that you're asking them to do, I think, is also important. It's that caring part that you're looking for in the middle of all of those questions. Now, here's what I think the value that LeaderCorps brings into that situation is we're going to constantly prod you to invest in them. Nothing will make people care more about your organization than knowing that you care for them. John Maxwell always says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. LeaderCorps is going to help you drive core leadership principles, not just into you and your business, but also into your people. Right now, our whole team is going through this 30-day growth plan. We are trying to grow as leaders as well. And at the corporate level, we are driving that down, adding value to our people and helping them figure out what their dream is, helping them figure out what their genius is and how that can benefit where it is that we're trying to go with LeaderCorps and everything else that we're doing at the John Maxwell Company. So will LeaderCorps speak into this issue and be helpful in this issue? Absolutely, it is. I hope that's super helpful. That's all we've got for today. If you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for the $99 trial. Again, you're going to get everything you see here on the page, and you'll get it all if you sign up today for just $99 for the first month and then $199 every month after that, which is a 50% savings. And it also means we're taking all the risk. We are doing this because we want